That was probably the nicest campsite so far of the trip, although it is forbidden. I'm in the Loch no camping zone, but there was no one here to enforce that at 11 o'clock last night when I arrived. Not only you're not allowed to camp, you're not even allowed to drink. Big thumbs down for the calendar co-op. No coffee machine, no pastries. Loch Venachar, where I camped last night. And then the disappointing village of Calendar. I could have got coffee and breakfast rolls if I'd been prepared to go off route to the garage, but I'm very much not prepared to do that when I've got food in my bag I could eat. Some much more promising country up ahead today, not just roads and forest. I just spoke to a farmer guy there who reckoned there's going to be dry all day today and some rain tomorrow afternoon. It's just great to be up here in some open country. Away from the roads. Stopped for my first break of the day, just rehydrating, some chilli. I think this is the way to do it, get the proper meal in early on in the day, then just have more meats and cheeses and things later on in the day. Things are brightening up a bit, feeling good after that chilli. Had to chat with some passing ramblers as well, so yeah, in high spirits and looking forward to another wee snack break in Comrie. Now we've got about 9k down Glen Arkney to Comrie. Almost 8.5 hours to get to Comrie, and I should have more or less the same left in me, but it really doesn't feel that way just now. So, first item on the agenda is eat a lot of food and see if that restores me. Leaving Comrie after what was perhaps an excessively long break with a coffee, cheese bread thing, a cake, 300 mils of single cream, 2 pints of Guinness, and eating this haggis supper on the way out. Going to see how many of those 50 kilometres between here and Aberfeldy I can smash out tonight. Really want to do 28 of them, but that seems a bit far-fetched. On the Baggers Path up Ben Chauncey now. glad to be down off that overly steep track. I'm going to head down the glen, find a spot to camp. Last night I came round past Ben Chauncey, and today we're going to go down this glen before cutting up to the left, heading over to Aberfoyle. A slight frost on the thistles and the moss last night. Yesterday I would say was the toughest day so far. I didn't cover the distance I wanted to cover. I was just under 58k, so that was about 7 short. And I suppose it was a slightly later start yesterday. I did hang around for quite a while in Comrie in the afternoon, but mostly it was just moving slowly. Just felt more tired, slightly more aches and pains, especially towards the end of the day, descending that steep track. My left knee was a little bit tender, and later on in the day the soles of my feet have been getting quite tender too, just as if it feels as if someone's been hitting them with a hammer all day, which is kind of what's been happening. But I am going well today. I feel quite strong today. Not troubled by aches or pains, just a slight awareness of that left knee when I'm walking on the flat. And I really think that by focusing on posture I can get that straightened up before I have to do another long steep descent. So feeling upbeat today. I'm gonna just try and bash out as many miles as I can. And I'm really looking forward to getting into the Cairngorms. This glen here is lovely. It's well worth enduring the Central Belt and the start of the Rob Roy Way to get onto this. Now this Loch was the original plan for last night's camp, but it's taken about 2 hours to get here, so that was never going to happen. Nice view back towards that narrow defile that snakes through the hills. Going to make sure I keep plenty of food inside me today, so stocking up on some cheese, hummus and ham. Loch Fruchy. Just had a nice wee tea break, and I've come to the realisation that there is no way I'm setting a new fastest known time on this route. It's just not going to happen. To be in with any chance, I would have to have been in Aberfeldy last night. I'm still 8k from Aberfeldy, so it's actually going to be enough of a challenge just to complete this in 15 or 16 days. So focus now is just sustaining myself, getting the thing finished and enjoying the journey. Arriving in Aberfeldy. The tea. It's 7 o'clock. Just climbed up out of Aberfeldy. We had a spot of afternoon dinner, and I'm heading over to either Pitlochry, which is about 4k away, or Blair Athol. I would quite like to have a camp somewhere in a campsite where I can get myself a shower and stuff, but none of the campsites near Loch take tents anymore, so that would mean pushing on to Blair Athol, and that's now looking like it would be 10 o'clock at the earliest, especially by the time I've picked up some provisions for the Cairngorms in Pitlochry. So latest thinking is, I think there's like a toilet block at Loch Fiscally, so if that's open I could get in there, get a little wash up, camp nearby. So that's the thinking, but very much at a low ebb. Don't know if it's the rain or the accumulated fatigue or the fact I've realised not going quite as fast as I thought I would, so it's not as if there's going to be much opportunity to slack off in the later section. But whatever it is, yeah, I'm in a period of low mood just now. I'm just going to have to suck it up and march on. When I was counting down my list of moans back there, I neglected to mention the sore knee as well, a sore left knee. Up till now it's been no more than a 3 out of 10, but it's got to the stage I stopped to put a tubular bandage on and taking ibuprofen. So hopefully when that kicks in it will go away, but I just had the weasel thought that I'm just about to pass right past a railway station where I could get a train right back to my bed very, very quickly. But I'll just leave that weaselly thought hanging in the air and continue as if I'm not going to do that at all. Right, I had a period of extremely low mood yesterday. In fact, in Pitlochry I was very, very tempted by a train that was could have got me home in 2 hours, but fortunately I just resupplied in the co-op instead and came down to this Fiscally car park. I was hoping the toilets would do a bit more in the way of warm water and stuff for advanced hygiene purposes, but sadly no. Anyway, I've had a decent sleep, knee feels okay this morning, so I'm going to press on to Blair Athol and up through the Cairngorms. Just done a full hygiene session in this wee toilet. Washed my socks, face, armpits, bum and privates, and utilised the toilet in my bum cleaning, pouring water down it in the Indian style. So feeling very fresh and ready to go. It's not actually raining just now, which is good. So after that hygiene session and leisurely start, I'm feeling much more upbeat. Looking forward to another good day on the trail. Passing underneath the main road, and I note that there's a kind of galley hanging suspended beneath the bridge, which can be moved backwards and forwards to allow access to the underside of the carriageway. I had no idea that was there. We're really looking forward to this next section now. Getting into some proper wilderness country. I think the trouble with the more populated sections is that you feel less kind of backcountry explorer and more like a vagrant who's been deliberately homeless. But all that will change now. I'll be back in my natural environment. So glad I didn't give in to my weaselly thoughts last night and get on the bus or the train back to Inverness. That would have been so easily done. In the rain with a sore knee, I had to actually walk past an Inverness bound bus sitting there ready to depart in 15 minutes. But instead I went to the co-op, resupplied, by which point the bus had gone. But there was still the temptation of the train, but I resisted that one too. And I'm so glad I did. That's a soldier's leap. We are following the Battle of Killiecrankie. A fleeing redcoat made a 5.5 metre leap to escape with Jacobite pursuers. Killiecrankie. In Blair Athol and the sun has come out, although it is still raining. In the pleasant garden at the Mill Cafe in Blair Athol. I've kind of forgotten about that place, but I'm very glad not to have eaten fish and chips or pizza. Sheltered under this beech tree. It's begun to absolutely piss with rain. Hopefully it'll pass while I'm having a brew. A new use for my undermat as a kind of makeshift shelter, which is surprisingly effective. Now I believe this is the site where the intermingling of different rock types convinced Hutton or some other early geologist that the rocks must have been molten at one point. Yeah. Note the involuntary foot movement driven by the pulse in the feet. There must be so much blood pumping through those feet. Snow in the distant Cairngorms there. In the trees over there we have Venachar Lodge, which is home for the night. Fabulous grass for camping. Best pitch yet, just as the rain came on. A decent amount of ice has come off the bottom end of the tent there. Packing up here on a cold morning at Venachar Lodge. Pretty chilly last night, not helped by the fact that my thermarest was deflating and had to be blown up twice during the night. So first job today, get that thermarest leak identified and fixed. A gorgeous but very cold morning here. Away from camp, nice and early today, before 6 o'clock. First thing to do today is an icy river wade, so I'm really looking forward to that. But bothy on the other side, so I'm going to get my thermarest repairs sorted out and maybe have a warm brew in the bothy while I'm doing it. Sunshine awaits on the other side of this crossing. First fording point. The second crossing, and waiting on the other side, the Red House bothy, which was not here the last time I passed this way. Great spot for thermarest repair. Well, that's now 20 to 8 and I've only covered about 1.5 kilometres or something, but the good news is I've fixed my thermarest so I can look forward to an uninterrupted sleep tonight. Turned out to just be a tiny wee hole beside the valve, so that's all repaired. Got a cup of tea while I was at it, aired my sleeping bag, and a good start to the day. Well, that bothy looks fantastic. Really well kitted out, as they all seem to be nowadays. The maintenance officer was in there doing a bit of work, so I had a bit of a chat with him. And yeah, what a cracking morning to be out and about. Baking hot and great charging weather. Pretty sure that's a hen harrier. Partially makes up for the eagle, juvenile eagle I missed earlier on. Indeed they do. A beautiful bothy. Fantastic, just what I want. Had a mishap here in a pack graft a few years ago, but the river has totally and utterly changed since then. To the point that the pool I almost drowned in is no longer there. Ruthven Barracks and Kingusie. That's been a really enjoyable 2 days walking in Glens, Tilt, Geldie and Feshy. That really is what I like, a proper, more backcountry, wildernessy, wild land backpacking. But I'm going to be skirting civilization again now, heading into Kingusie where I plan to get some food and maybe a pint. Really feel my powers have begun to return after taking it a bit easier yesterday, not requiring any knee bandage. Knee's absolutely fine. Energy levels seem good just now, although I am getting a bit tired now, but I'm sure I'll pick up with a bit of fuel in me. The Spey, first of many sightings. Good pit stop in Kingusie there. Had an absolutely delicious haggis supper with some pickled onions. Then went to the co-op to stock up on supplies for tomorrow. And while I was at it, got a big tub of natural yoghurt and a large tub of about to go out of date pineapple, which was deliciously sweet. Scoffed that outside. Now on the trail to, well, towards Newton Moor, but I'm heading to Victoria Bridge and probably no further than that tonight. Wet one overnight and today, but fortunately I got several indoor stopping points available today. Got 3 bothies and the Lagan stores, so I'm just going to take it easy, get a bit done, have a rest. Haven't quite got that thermarest sorted out yet. It was still deflating overnight, so I need to get into the first bothy, get that sorted, and then test it in each subsequent bothy until I'm sure I'm going to get a sleep without having to blow the thing up partway through the night. Clean forgot to film this camp just past Victoria Bridge, so I'll show you the spot I was camped on. That's where the tent was. Quite a nice wee spot, very peaceful. So I've done a full soaping up of the thermarest, and it turned out to be the same hole as yesterday, which obviously wasn't fixed properly with the thermarest supplied repair kit. Could have been because it was very cold when I put it on, but I don't think I'm going to risk that again. What I'm going to do is try and get some seam grip on that and try and arrange it in such a way that the seam grip can cure while I'm walking. Then if that doesn't work, I can have another go with the thermarest kit, because it doesn't take any time to cure. So that's the challenge, arrange this so seam grip can cure on it without running off and making a right old mess. This has been the site of my operations in the bothy. I've had something to eat, nice warm cup of tea. That thermarest is now dried off after the soaping, so it's ready for the next stage. Right, packed up, repair complete. The only issue I have is seam grip beside the valve there is still quite liquid, so I've put it in this Ziploc bag. I'm just going to carry it by hand for the next few hours until it begins to cure. Sadly, it's time to swap these nice bothy slippers, which come supplied with the place, for wet socks and wet shoes. Marching down the glen to Lagan with my curing thermarest in its bag. Lagan, the stores and the turn off to Garva Bridge. in the wonderful Lagan stores. Spey Dam at the other end. Some creepy abandoned buildings. The one on the left looks particularly old with those tiny windows. Garva Bridge over the Spey. A good flow in the Spey before the water is abstracted off for hydro. This is proving to be a long march from Lagan up to the Corrie. Still a good few k short of Melgarve, but looking forward to getting in there for a proper rest up before I tackle the pass. Looks like this new conservation practice of putting uprooted trees, roots and all, in river courses to improve the habitat. There's a bit of water in there. Time for a pit stop at Melgarve Bothy. Well, that was extremely amusing. Building down there is marked as Melgarve. There's another building up here, but it appeared to be locked on the way down, so I went down to the lower building. There was a van parked outside, but I thought Melgarve was a bothy you could drive to, so that didn't put me off. There's some guys like doing tiling tools and things at the door, so I assume they are the maintenance officers in doing a bit of work. And so I chat away to them for a bit, and then eventually they said, I'm just going to get a cup of tea and something to eat. And he said, oh, I can come in and have some tea, would you rather have a beer? So I said, that'd be really nice, thinking they've got some left over from their maintenance activities. But it turns out it's actually the guy's house. No, it's like a holiday house, he rents it, has done for 30 years. So had a nice wee chat there, nice wee can of beer, and it feels like the olden times when people would invite you in for a wee bit of Highland hospitality. But Forbes and Mark, they were very nice chaps. Slightly embarrassed at having imposed myself on them, but I think we had a good chat. I think they enjoyed it too. Pretty typical lunch stop. Hummus, sweet chilli in this case, cheese and ham, and a cup of tea. Great stop off in Melgarve. Really delighted to be on the bothying section of the trip, where I can go and sit down somewhere, eat and drink, and not be 20 quid lighter at the end of it, which seems to be kind of the going rate nowadays. Switch backing up this hill. Old battery bank, loads of old gauges, bunks for 3 if you're into that kind of thing, some benches, someone's left some rubbish. Not sure how the door got off, but the door is definitely off. Extremely unlikely that I will walk past that bothy. Just the thought of being somewhere nice and dry is oh, it's very exciting. Coming out of the cloud now, another little structure down there. That one's not very appealing either. Definitely less interesting. Blackburn bothy. Just this raging torrent to ford first. Pleasant night in Blackburn with a nice chap named Carlton who's on a long tour travelling around researching a gravel guidebook. So we had a good chat about gravelly things, and a bit short on battery now due to my battery pack's completely empty due to the total lack of solar radiation yesterday. So we're going to take it easy on the filming until I can get some more charge in that. But next stop is the cache, which is just down this track, and then I'll go from having a very light bag to having quite a heavy bag again. Fort Augustus and the very tip of Loch over towards the right. This little cairn is a sign that there are goodies in the vicinity. And there it is, 3 days worth of supplies. Food, gas, toilet paper, rehydration salts. Fort Augustus, where I'm going to fuel up. That's a good stop off in Fort Augustus. I got some coffee, some pastries, a tub of cream for breakfast. Picked up a few extra foodstuffs as well. Perhaps too much, but I'm pretty sure anything will get eaten at this stage in the game. Now heading down the canal to Bridge of Loch, at which point I'll pick up the Great Glen Way down to Inverlael. Had a good freshen up there, got my armpits, face, etc. all washed up. So feeling fresh and ready for the final phase of this walk. Well, it's got a nice day in prospect now. Hopefully we'll even be able to trickle some charge into my power bank. Things are getting quite tight now. The external battery pack's totally empty. So might be a bit light on the filming until I get a sunny day. Right, I was expecting this. I'm going to be deprived of the walk down the side of Loch. Should be going down the south side there in blue. Instead, I'm going to be going down to Inverlael on the Great Glen Way, which will save me a bit of distance. Great Glen Way to Inverlael. Inverlael. Bit early for the bar, though it is open. The River Garry that I'll be loosely following for the next little bit. So, having encountered practically no ramblers for this whole trip, there were tons of them in that short section of the Great Glen Way. Like about 30 at least. Americans, assorted Europeans. The Great Glen Way must be the Scottish long distance route that's got the best publicity, or that has captured the imagination of the visitor for some reason. I wonder if I'll see anyone else up this way as I make my way over to Cluny. Maybe that's what brings all the Americans, the fact that this is apparently a part of the International Appalachian Trail. Excellent little break there. Got a tent up to stay out the midges and stay warm. Had a lie down, a cup of tea, hard boiled some eggs, then used the hot egg water to give my bum and privates a good wash. So feeling fresh and ready for action. Wonderful, the sun's out and we're among the mountains. Quite like that cabin built on the remains of an old stone house. approaching the scene of the famous River Garry capsize, which I hope I can include footage of after this. Heading up to the Bealach to the right of that dark peak. Thank goodness, actually going up to this much lower Bealach. As I came by Aucklandon, just a wee bit fae the toon, to the Highlands I was bound to view the halls of Cromdale. I met a man in tartan trews and speried him what was the news. Said he, the Highland army ruse, at where they went to Cromdale. We were in bed, sir, every man, when the English host upon us came. A bloody battle then began upon the halls of Cromdale. The English horse, they were so rude, they bathed their hoofs with Highland blood, but our brave clans they boldly stood upon the halls of Cromdale. But alas, they could no longer stay, and o'er the hills they came away. Sair did they lament the day that ere they went to Cromdale. Should find a nice flat spot for my tent down there beside the river. Some great walking today and a really fantastic pitch. Probably the best pitch of the trip so far. So it was well worth pounding all those canals to get here for this.